Hello, this is the Moog Rogue, and a friend of mine brought it round yesterday because we had a kind of a synth get together just to make some noise basically. However, it didn't work. There was no life in it whatsoever, and he has been round with this 2 weeks previously and it was absolutely fine. So I said leave it with me and I'll have a look into it so I can make a video as well. And see what was wrong with it. There was no life in it whatsoever. The little power light didn't come on and it was completely dead. So I've just put it on my desk to set up a kind of a repair video, and it works. There's nothing wrong with it. So I kind of thought, well, it's not going to make a very good video. However, if you look on the power light here, what I did notice while it was on the desk and I was setting it up for the camera is if I move it to the right slightly, gone, dead. The light's gone out and it's buzzing. To the left and it's back on again. So that tells me this is just a simple fix. It's either the power plug that's going into the jack socket here, or it's actually the jack socket. So this should be a relatively easy fix, but it's a good chance to open this up and have a look inside it anyway. So where's my screwdriver? This had a 3.5mm jack for the power. I don't like these for power because sometimes when you disconnect or plug it in, you are temporarily shorting the tip and the sleeve on these. So it's best if you actually unplug these things before you plug this bit in and out, because you can sometimes short that, even though it's only for a split second. Who knows, in the long term you could cause damage. But right, what do I know about this before I take it apart? Let's pull that out as well. Now this came out in the early 80s, and there was also a bass synthesizer which, you know, had pedals, and that was actually one of these. It was identical. The only difference is it sat on a stand and it had a 1.5 octave pedal board instead. So the keyboard has what, 2.5 octaves there, and the Taurus 2 has 1.5 octaves, but everything else is identical, absolutely the same. Now this was also licensed to Tandy Radio Shack, who built the Concert Mate MG1. I think they added a couple of little extra bits on it and they sold it much cheaper, but basically it was the Moog Rogue again. So there's 2 screws there, 2 screws there, one on the back here. Don't take these ones out because this is holding the actual keyboard in place. And I think that is about it to open this up. If I remember, oh, there you go, it's moving already. So I'll just lift that up. There you go, we're in. Now then, that is a little plug in this corner, and that frees the keyboard from the actual synthesizer. So I'll just get rid of the keyboard down there till later, and there we go. Here is the Moog Rogue. There's quite a deep scratch right across the circuit board here, and it's running across these tracks here. I don't suppose there's any problem there, but I'll have a closer look into that and see if that's actually cutting the track almost. But yes, let's get this bit out here. Man, you're saying that, really? You should take off the potentiometer knobs on the other side first, because if not, it's just going to make it easy if I take them off before I unscrew this. Now if you cut an old card, credit card or Amazon card if you like, and slot it down there, you can get tools in like so to prise up the buttons without too much pressure against the surface, because you don't want to scratch the surface up. You see that just slides in like that, and then you can get a couple of blades in like so. Just give it a little wobble. Got to be careful with these because these are really old and they could easily crack, so just do it like this, nice and gently, give it a rock, and eventually it'll start to lift up. But the important thing is it going to loosen it? Yep, loosens it enough, and you don't scratch the surface. Right, now I can unscrew this top piece. Okay, let's flip this over. Ugh, dirty, disgusting. I think this needs a clean of some sort. What I believe this might be is, you know, sometimes underneath a switch you have a piece of sponge to stop dirt falling through. I think originally it was that, and it's all dissolved over time. Now that's interesting. That is a microchip with a resistor sitting across the top of it, and what happens there is the resistor heats up and keeps that oscillator section at a specific temperature, and so it kind of keeps it stable in a way. But yeah, that's nice to see. I think I'll sort that out first, and then if I've got time I'll try and clean a bit of this up. But that is quite dirty. Ugh. I mean, you can almost scrape it off with a blade. It's sort of sticky. Ugh, disgusting. Oh well. Right, so this is the power here, and as you can see, just around the edge of the solder joint here, it's there's almost a perfect circle, which is a gap, and this is what you call a dry solder joint. It eventually, plugging in and out the plug is causing some stress on the socket, and over time it's actually disconnected. So all that you have to do here is look for, you know, a bad solder joint there, and then just clean it up and resolder, and that should be okay. That's the job that needs doing after all, just resoldering. So I'm going to just use a bit of this solder flux there, so it's nice and clean. Well, not exactly clean, but it helps the solder to flow better. And then I will just solder there and that. Let's hold it on for a second. That's basically it. That's the repair, just that. But while I've got it open, I might as well just have a look around to see if anything else is dry soldered, as they say. So if you look around the board, especially at the edges of solder joints, every now and again you'll see there's one of them and it seems to have a sort of a little ring around the outside, a little dirty ring. I don't know if you can see that too well, but that's a bad solder joint. That is the other side of one of the faders, so the fader's been pushed up and down repeatedly and it's put stress onto that joint. So there's another point that I should really solder while I've got this apart, and actually I've just found another. If you look just there at that one, that's the other side of that same fader, and that again has a little bit of a sort of dirt line around it, and again if you go across it with a knife you can feel it's not smooth, so there is actually a small crack there as well. So I'll go along this board and I'll just resolder all these dry joints. All the little dry solder joints have been redone now, and I've sorted out this connector. I had to resolder a couple of these jack sockets because, like I say, sometimes the dry joints start mainly on something that's either heating up and cooling down, or something that's having physical stress put on it. So all that's been covered, and that's fine. The trouble is with all this dirt, this isn't dirt, it's the old foam that used to sit over this. It would have the foam layer, of course. The trouble is you just can't clean it off. It's stuck basically, and you can keep scraping lumps off there, but you know, there's not really any point in getting solvents in there and starting to clean it all up. because if you do, you might loosen some of this crap and it'll end up down inside the faders or whatever, and you probably be doing more damage than good. But this is all sort of, it's like chewing gum almost. So I'm going to draw the line there. I'm not going to clean all this off because it would take me forever. I've pulled some of the big pieces off, but look, it's just like, it's like sticky black chewing gum. Some of the contacts could do with a bit of a clean up, but other than that, I've done my bit. I fixed it. It was just the dry joint, and that's quite common in a lot of old equipment, is finding little dry joints everywhere. So yeah, always look out for something like that, really. What can I say? Thank you very much for watching, and if you like this, please give us a thumbs up, and if possible, subscribe. And I've got plenty more gear under the desk here that I really must get through, so some more videos on the way soon, I hope. Other than that, all the best. Thank you very much. Bye bye.